Raise your hand if your favorite reason for not getting something done or not starting something or just not doing something in general is because, quote, I didn't have time. I feel like in this society, in this world we live in now, and maybe forever, but that I've recently become aware of, it feels like we wear busy as a badge of honor. Like we just want to constantly be talking about how busy we are, how much we have to do, and how little time we have for things. I get it. Our society is based on production and proving our worth. I understand that. But sometimes that's not always the best route, right? Not having time for things, not putting priorities first, just always putting things off. A couple of years ago, I heard someone say, I think I read it in an article or something somewhere, that instead of saying, I don't have time for that, say, I couldn't make that a priority. That's something that I think is a great shift. So multiple years ago, I stopped saying I didn't have time and I started saying I didn't make it a priority. There were tons of things that I would say I didn't make it a priority to work out. I didn't make it a priority to get XYZ done or the laundry or the dishes or whatever. I didn't make it a priority. And that felt perfectly fine because I didn't make it a priority, and that's okay sometimes. But then I realized I was doing it for everything. So I didn't make going to Brooklyn to see my grandma a priority. I didn't make calling my family a priority. I didn't make good conversations with my friends a priority. Instead of saying I didn't have time to go see my grandma, I didn't have time for good conversations with my friends, I didn't have time for good connections with my family. All of those things are easy to say, and most of us don't think anything of it. Oh, you didn't have time. Well, of course you couldn't go see your grandma. You didn't make it a priority? It's a little different. Felt way worse for me. So I stopped saying I don't have time. And I started saying I didn't make it a priority. This tiny shift for me made me realize that I wasn't prioritizing in a way that I loved. I was prioritizing in a way that was a kind of chicken with your head cut off kind of way. So I started prioritizing the things that really matter so that I could really, really focus on them and actually get them done. This made a huge difference for me. This tiny shift in the language that I use shifted my mindset around it, and it changed the way I do things. There's a quote in Spanish that says siempre hay tiempo. It means there's always time. I've always taken that quote to mean there's always time for what matters, for what you make a priority. So the reason I'm talking about this, it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't have time to go back to school. I don't have time to research that career change. I don't have time to XYZ because of family, because of work, because of everything else in my life. Perfectly fine. Because you do have a lot going on and you probably don't have a ton of spare time. But if that thing like going back to school or looking into a career change is a priority for you, why aren't you making it a priority for you? If you say, I didn't make going back to school a priority, so I just never did it. Does that feel bad? I didn't make that career change a priority, so I never changed careers and I was here forever. Are you okay with that? If you are, great. Ignore what I'm saying. But if it feels gross, if it doesn't feel good, like for me with I didn't make going to see my grandma a priority, that felt bad. If it feels bad for you, consider shifting it slightly to think, am I not doing it because I know it's going to make me uncomfortable and it's going to force me to self-reflect and do some work and prioritize some other things over the things that I've been kind of like pushing to the top, like everything on Netflix? Sometimes that realization can be really hard. Sometimes it can be kind of one of those things like a kind of a slap in the face of reality, like, oh, maybe I don't have as many excuses as I thought because I have time to prioritize an entire season of whatever show on Netflix. I have time to prioritize 45 minutes to an hour every single day before I go to bed on TikTok, but I can't read more. I can't work out more. I can't spend more time with my family. Think about those things. Think about how they're showing up for you in your life. What are some things you're consistently saying, I don't have time for? One that I hear all the time is, I don't have time to work out. That's perfectly valid. People have busy days, and working out is a lot of work. I mean, it literally says it in the name, working out. We get it. But if you're really prioritizing changing the way you physically feel, Maybe working out is something you need to prioritize more. Maybe it's something like, well, I've been wanting to change careers, but we're just so busy at work right now. I'll do it when we slow down. When are you going to slow down? Is that a reality? Or are you just saying you're going to slow down because then you can put it off a little bit further? And then the next time it really does slow down, you think, well, you can't do it now because of X, Y, Z. These are realities and super valid reasons for not doing things. But if it's really a priority to change careers, you're going to have to start sometime. So try prioritizing that research. Try prioritizing getting your resume updated. These are all things that come up for us all the time in our lives. And it's super normal to feel like we've got way too many things going on and we are way too busy and we don't have time. Completely valid. But if you're wanting to make some changes, try changing. I didn't have time for that, I didn't make it a priority. See how it feels. See if those things that you say you really care about are a priority and you can move them up higher on that priority list. Now, if you want help with something like that, that's exactly what my coaching does. And I would love to help you prioritize the things that matter to you and that'll make you happy and feel fulfilled in your careers and your educational pathways. It's exactly what my coaching's for. So send me an email if you want to work on those priority lists and the things that you don't have time for and the things that you don't prioritize.